Hey everybody, it's Michael from Replica Airguns with another tabletop review. Today we're looking at the Umarex Legend CO2 Blowback Full Auto M3 Grease Gun. And again, this is the tabletop review. Now we do have this gun available in both our Canada and US Replica Airgun stores, so I'll put links in the description and over on the blog with the written post, so you can find it there in either Canada or the US. Now there's no shooting test for this gun, I have not shot it yet. But I would imagine it will compare to other Umarex full auto BB rifles that I've tested. They generally all shoot very similar, so you can check out some of those other reviews. But I should have a review for you guys, a shooting field test by next week. Let's get into the specifications. This is a mostly all metal constructed gun. It uses an inline dual 12-gram CO2 cartridge setup. It shoots 4.5mm steel BBs, has blowback operation and shoots in both semi and auto selectable. You're going to find a 60-round all-metal full-size dropout magazine that also holds the dual CO2. The overall length is 29.8 inches or 757 grams. I haven't checked if that's with the stock closed. So that's with the stock open. Closed, it's about 23 inches. So just so you know, this gun weighs 7.7 pounds or 3.5 kilograms. Compare that to the real steel version, it was 7.9 pounds. So pretty close. You're also going to find an 8-inch smoothbore barrel. Now this gun shoots in single action only, has a single action trigger. The flip open thumb slot bolt must be pulled back before the first shot because it is an open bolt system. And it shoots up to a claimed 450 FPS with a 10,050 round per minute BB fire rate. So it's going to be a lot faster than the 45 caliber real steel version, which shot a lot slower. I can't remember exactly the rate of fire, but I'm going to say it was close to about half of what the BB version is going to shoot. But then again, you're not going to have to worry so much about recoil. You're going to find a front post sight and a rear peep sight that are both non-adjustable. It also has a collapsible wire stock with just either the position in, where it's fully closed, or out, fully out, so it's not a multi-position wire stock. It comes in a box with a manual and Allen key, and of course, here's the manual right there with some specifications. So if you want to stop and check this out, you can freeze the video. We're not going to go into it too much. I got lots to show here, but lots of specifications. You know, you're going to have all of the information you need to operate this gun, show you how to fire it, open bolt system, selector switch, loading the magazine, loading the CO2, all of those fun things you're going to find in here. Sight, how to shoot it, how to work the stock. Okay, all in there. We're going to take a quick peek at the box, which I'll barely be able to get in here. But again, you have more specifications, right? Let's do a little browse by. Now, 60 rounds in the mag, so it's going to be a double stack magazine. It'll be interesting to see how that feeds, because sometimes steel BBs don't feed so well when they're in a double stack configuration. You got more information on the side here, Legends M3, and then on the back you've even got more information. A lot of it's the same really, but just if you want to freeze that, I'll just do that for you if you can read everything there. Again, all the stuff that I kind of already just said, and then a little sort of parts breakdown here, just to let you know. Now I did want to compare it quickly to another gun. I don't have another grease gun. This is the first grease gun I've ever encountered in a replica. But we have here the Umarex MP, which is another, you know, it's similar era styled gun. Kind of would be, I believe, a 45 caliber gun. A little more refined than the grease gun. But this is a nice gun here, and this one's sort of designed to have that aged, weathered look, which it does. And actually, because it's been in my sea can and it encounters a little bit of humidity in here when it gets cold, like these guns will actually fog up a little bit. You can see, because this one has some exposed metal, that some of the exposed metal is actually tarnishing a bit, so, which is kind of just adding to it a little bit. You could kind of wipe that off a little, probably use something like a magic eraser and get that off. But this one is starting to actually get a little bit of tarnish on it, which isn't such a bad thing because it's actually aged and weathered, this version. All right, let's do the walk around and take a nice look at this gun. I'm going to pop the magazine out right now just to make it easier to check it out. But here's your magazine. It is a double stack magazine as far as I can tell, because there's no way you're going to load 60 BBs in line. You'll basically pull the follower down, load it up from the bottom, right? Your dual CO2, typically they go in, so the top would be here of one and the top would be here of another. So bottom to bottom, tops on the top. It's typically how you load these guys. It is a metal magazine, quite nice. All right, so here's the gun. You can see here, it is submachine gun. It's basically got the 45 caliber markings on it, even though it's 4.5 millimeter, just to give it that authenticity. You do have the ability to take this barrel shroud off. I'm not going to do it right now, but what would happen is inside you'd have your inner barrel. So there's really no need to take that apart. You've got your front sight here, okay, which is a post sight. And then you have the dust cover and this open bolt system, which you basically have to use with your thumb or your finger to open it to allow for that first round to shoot, which you might need the magazine in there, or is it on safe? Yeah, so there we go. So open bolt system, it just closes basically, brings a round into the chamber there, and then it acts like the firing pin or the firing mechanism, like the hammer or striker. This part here just hits the CO2 valve and causes some CO2 to come out of the magazine, which then causes some back pressure, which cycles the bolt and allows for the next shot. So that's what allows you blowback action and full auto shooting. You'll also notice you have full auto there, semi-auto, and safe. Okay, so you wouldn't find that on the real steel version. Everything is metal on this gun, everything. The receiver, the top, the rail system, it's all metal. So there's your rear folding, or not folding stock, but stock there, okay? So it's nice rail stock, just like the real steel, and it's actual metal. Everything is metal on this gun, so I really do like that. Let's just take a look here at the rear peep sight. It does have a fairly open sight picture, which you're gonna need. I think this gun's gonna move around quite a bit with that open bolt system. It's gonna rock this gun a lot like the Uzi pistol would, because the Uzi pistols have that open bolt system, which makes them rock around pretty good. Gives it lots of blowback recoil action. And you'll see here it's got these sort of simulated welds. They're not real, I'm sure, but it's got the simulated welds like the real grease gun would have, giving it that sort of just non-refined look that these grease guns had. They were really inexpensive to make. They were super simple. They were super reliable guns back in the day. So yeah, so that's pretty neat. And actually, I forgot to say a couple specifications, because I forgot to mention that this is a replica of the M3A1 1944 variation of this machine gun, this M3 grease gun. And there were two other things I didn't mention, which were you have the sling mounts on the sort of left side of the gun. And of course, it is distributed by Umarex and made in Taiwan. All right, let's get into some of the pros and the cons. It's yet another classic Legends replica airgun from Umarex. So they've got a whole line of them. They've got the Thompson, they've got the MP, they've got this product. There's quite a few products that they carry now in full auto. And it's virtually all metal. Like everything outside of this gun is metal. I can't tell you if anything on the inside is plastic. I would imagine most of that's going to be metal as well. It does weigh a fair amount. And the fact that it's mostly metal, from what I can see, is pretty cool, including the sights. Now the price is very reasonable. It's about $250 Canadian. That's pretty reasonable for what you're getting. You know, you pay that for a lot of pistols, and here you're getting a full rifle, essentially, a BB machine gun rifle. And again, it's all metal construction, so you're getting good materials going into the build of this gun. I like that it's semi and full auto selectable, so you can decide how you want to shoot this gun. With 60 rounds, you may want to shoot a lot of rounds off in full auto. It's going to really be fun, I'm sure. And it does have that dual CO2 design, which increases the shots that you get with less cooldown. So it'll allow for those mag dumps without it slowing down too much. And hopefully you do get a few magazines per dual CO2 load. It also has that super high capacity 60 round full-size dropout metal magazine. Hopefully it works well in terms of feeding. We'll find out when we do the field test shooting video. And it is a great looking replica of the real steel grease gun in looks, operation, and feel. And it also has that internal open bolt blowback, which should give a lot of recoil feedback. We'll find out. I'm assuming it'll be similar to the Mini Uzi. Maybe not as much because the gun weighs a bit more, so you won't notice it quite as much. And again, it uses that open bolt system, just like the real steel version. And I didn't mention it when I did the walk around, but you do have a barrel that is recessed to give it that more realistic look. Okay, a few cons. The sights aren't non-adjustable, and hopefully that high capacity magazine feeds consistently. And the selector switch under the frame is not authentic to the real steel version, but does allow for semi and full auto and safe modes. I believe the real steel version generally came in full auto, but because it had a slow rate of fire, you could kind of pull off single or double shots pretty easy without unloading the magazine with a single trigger pull. Now I want to mention again, this gun is available in our Canada and US Replica Airgun stores over at replicaairguns.ca and replicaairguns.us. Again, I'll put links in the description of this video and over on the blog where the written post for this gun is, where you're also going to find additional photos and maybe some information that I left out of this video. Alright, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. And again, if you're interested in other products, check out replicaairguns.ca for Canada and replicaairguns.us for the US, where we carry air guns, BB guns, airsoft guns, pellet guns, blank guns, and other accessories. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.